Now, the next question is about the paleo diet, and is it actually based on scientific evidence, or is it just a whole lot of theory that is based more on myth? Well, from what we can gather from the evidence is that it's mostly a myth, because the idea with the paleo diet is that it's supposed to be based on what Palaeolithic man was eating, or caveman. And they say, the archaeologists say, that the Palaeolithic man lived around about from 10,000 years ago to about 2.5 million years ago. That's what they say. And they say that because that man in those days was a hunter-gatherer, that the majority of what they were eating was meat. And so we should be basing our diets on that. And they say that we should have something like 55% of our diet should be meat and fish and animal products. Well, when you actually have a look at the scientific data, you'll see that there's very little evidence to suggest that man was eating anywhere near that kind of amounts of meat. Where this originally came from was where they looked at the remains of ancient man, and they found that there was a lot of bones that were left there, and they would find there was animal bones nearby as well. Sometimes those bones had some markings that looked like stone tools on there, and so they thought, well, man must have just been eating huge amounts of animals, because we didn't find any traces of broccoli or no banana peels or anything like that. Well, yeah, bones tend to last quite a while, and before they decompose, and they're more likely to be fossilized as a result than something like a bit of broccoli that's likely to decompose within a couple of days. So, and I think a lot of archaeologists are now starting to realise that some of those theories that they had, which go back even over 100 years ago, are very, very flawed. In fact, what some of the newer science is showing from the archaeological magazines is that when they look at the teeth of ancient man, and they tend to find that there is quite a lot of starch granules in those teeth. Now, the starch granules are produced by plants. The plants produce them so that during the winter that they can break that down and get some sugars and have some energy for the plant. They also produce it so that in the springtime the plant can start growing at a rapid rate. But those granules were found on the teeth of ancient man. And the interesting thing was that they said that it was predominantly that, and there was very little evidence of animal protein and animal tissue in the teeth. So that's really the majority of what ancient man seems to be eating. In fact, there was one study from Nature magazine in 2009 that basically showed that the population that they were looking at that was living in Mozambique about 105,000 years ago was eating predominantly sorghum grass. So they were virtually on a plant-based diet. Other studies have shown the same sort of thing. Just recently, the British Medical Journal, only just a couple of years ago, evaluated the paleo diet, and their view of it was that it was a nutritional nightmare. And the main reason was because it was basically telling people to have huge amounts of animal products, which lead to high cholesterol levels and increased levels of heart disease and so forth. And in fact, we've known for a long time that the more animal products you have, the higher the rates of heart disease. The American Medical Association in 1961 actually said that 97% of heart disease could be eliminated if people were on a plant-based diet. So there's no doubt that from a point of view of health, you don't want to be going on that type of diet. Also, from an environmental point of view, it's a disaster as well, because effectively it needs far greater reserves of land and water and food to feed animals to get just a small amount of animal protein, whereas you could be eating the plant protein in the first place. It's been estimated that it takes something like about 14 times the amount of plant food in terms of plant protein to get 1 kilogram of animal protein. And yet the quality of that animal protein from a health point of view is worse for you. So, and in fact they're even saying that it takes something like, with the grain that we're feeding cattle, that you could actually feed 8.7 billion people on the planet with the grain that we feed cattle alone. And that's a staggering amount. So as a human race, we can't really exist on a diet like they're recommending, like a paleo diet. So it's a nightmare not only from a nutritional point of view, but from an environmental point of view as well.